All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. For today's roll and release class, we're going to be focusing on a muscle group called our quadriceps. So you'll hear it often in different exercise classes. We'll be working our quads. They're the muscles at the front of our legs. Okay, and they actually wrap around quite far to the sides. Um, Very, very important muscle group for pretty much everything that we do, standing, walking, running. Yeah, we really need these muscles, and a lot of the time they can get really tight. So I'm just going to briefly show you guys on Mr. Bones the area of the body that we're going to be talking about today. So quadriceps, they're at the front of our body. So if you can see here, this is the front of Mr. Bones's pelvis. Okay, there's only one muscle in the quadriceps group. So quadriceps means four, quad, four. And there's only one of them that actually crosses the hip joint. So if you see the ball and socket joint of the hip right here, there's only one of your quads that actually crosses over the front here, which makes it a hip flexor, and that is your rectus femoris. So it attaches pretty much up here and then travels all the way down the leg to attach at the front of the knee. Yeah? So all of our quad muscles actually do attach at this kind of common patella tendon site here at the front of the knee. But you have only got one that crosses the hip, and that's your rec fem. Okay, from there you've got three other quad muscles, and they go from outside to the middle to the inside of the leg. So on the outside of your leg, so kind of more this side, you have one of your quads, your vastus lateralis. Then you go to the inside, you have vastus intermedialis, and then on the inside of your legs, you have vastus medialis. Okay, and they all join together to attach also here at just below the patella. Okay, that patella tendon. So we're going to be focusing on that area as well as other areas today. You're going to need a foam roller. Full length would be great, but if you don't have a full length roller, that's not a problem at all for today. All right, guys. So for the first exercise today, we're going to be in standing. We're just going to mobilize the hip joints a little bit. So we're going to lean into our left leg. Make sure you don't let that hip poke out, but stand down into that left foot. There'll be a slight elevation of the right hip, but don't hip hike too much, just a couple degrees, and then lift that right knee up off of the ground. Great job. From here, if you do have a full length roller, place the roller in against your shin. So your leg is now flush with the roller, and you're using it for balance as well. From here, you're going to slide your knee down, slide it as high up as you can. You might just need to place your right hand on your right hip. So come all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. Good. All the way up, sliding it up. Really pull that knee in as high as you can. And down. And up. Last two. So your knee trajectory as it comes up is kind of going up towards the armpit. Last time down and up. And then bring it to a 90-degree angle where the knee is in line with the hip. From here, we're going to try and internally rotate, take it back. Internally rotate, take it back. Good. Let's go for about 10. You're pressing the knee into the roller, similar to what we did last week. So yes, of course, this stuff is work. All right, so this is mobility. And mobility is really just great for opening up the joints and creating space that you didn't necessarily have before. And that space is created by strength. And that's where you feel that burn. Last 3 and 2 and 1. And then you can place that leg down, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Let's go straight over to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to place the roller just in front of me, balancing on my right foot, and I'm going to bring the roller out in front. So I just want to make sure that I'm square, okay? So I'm not leaning over to one side. My pelvis is pointing forwards, and I'm going to slide my knee up as high as I can, and I'm going to slide it down. And I'm going to slide it up and slide it down. I want to make sure that when my knee comes up, the trajectory is as if it was going straight up into my armpits. And up and down. Good. 4 more. Up and down. Good. Just watch for the shoulders. They might like to hike up here. Try and keep them relaxed. Last 3. Really squeeze it up. You'll feel the hip flexor burn at the front. 2 hip flexors. And last one, lift. Good. Slide it down to a 90-degree angle, and you're going to try and internally rotate. Take it back. Internally rotate. Take it back. Awesome. Very nice. I'm hoping that one day in the future we'll have such amazing technology that we'll be able to see how many degrees, how much range of motion we have in our limbs just with the camera being able to see us move. It's the amazing thing about technology. So you can really watch ourselves. We can see how we move. Let's go for 3 more. So if you're like me, you want to make sure that that knee doesn't start to sag down. Last 2. And 1. Good. Slide it down. Well done. Shake out the leg. Great job. From here, I'm going to take the roller over to the left-hand side. I'm going to lean into that left leg. I'm going to bring my right knee up again. Good. Very nice. From here, I want to try and pull it up, just like I did when it was on against the roller. I'm going to internally rotate, just like when I was on the roller. And now I want to take my knee out to the side. Out to the side. All the way back. And then I'm going to bring my knees together and scoop it forward. So it's almost as if my kneecap was drawing a circle. Yeah. So there will be movement in the rest of your body, but try and really focus on the ball and socket joints of the hip. Last 2. So if you can see on Mr. Bones there, that ball and socket joint, we want to try and really get the movements in there. And 1. Very nice. Great job. Shake it out. Other side. Okay, so leaning into that right leg, bring the left knee up, nice and high. Good. Internally rotate. And take it back, take it back, take it back. So you really got to try and limit the amount of other movements in the body that's not coming from the hip. You're really going to have a little bit of a tug of war with yourself here. Not leaning too much over to the side or not leaning forward too much. Let's go for 3 more of these. Hopefully it's a little bit burny. I'm definitely feeling it. I did a really great outdoor workout last night or yesterday. And I am stiff. Last time. Good. And then place the foot down. Really well done, guys. Shake it out. Okay, we're going to use our roller. We're going to be lying on the roller. It's going to be supporting our pelvis. So, pop it on the ground. There's really no graceful way to go about this. You're going to put your bum on the ground for a second. Elbows on the roller. Roll back until your head is on the floor. Place the roller underneath your pelvis. You want to get your upper back onto the ground. tailbone on the roller, and then suspend your legs up into space. Good. All right. So from here, guys, we're going to reach both of our legs up. And I want you to see if you can engage your quads. Okay, so the muscles that we're speaking about, the muscles at the front of the legs, engage into them. Point the toes, squeeze the kneecaps up. And we're going to try and bring both legs in as close towards our body as possible. So you're going to bring both legs in, feel the stretch at the back of the legs, and then reach them both up towards the sky. Squeeze the kneecaps up, point the toes, bring both legs in, really opening up the back of the body, and then take it back up. Let's go for 2 more. Bring them in, squeeze the kneecaps up. You got to really activate your quads to get this really to work, guys. And up. Last time, squeeze the kneecaps up. Pull the thighs in towards you. Now keep your right leg in as close as you can and let your left leg travel forward and down. So you want to almost think that you're in the splits here. You're not going to let your feet turn out. You're in the pure front splits. Squeeze the kneecaps up. These muscles are really active. Your quads are really active. And you're going to bring the left leg in and up. Swap, let the right leg come down. Good. You don't want that right knee to bend. Okay, you want to try and reach through that right leg, reach through the left leg, and then bring it up and swap. Okay, again, don't let the left knee bend. Straighten, reach, bring it up. Okay, let's go for 6 and swap. And 5. Keep on reaching out of the back of the legs. Keep squeezing the kneecaps up. 4. Good. 3. Almost there. 2. And 1. Awesome. Both legs up. From this position, we're going to split them again. We're going to hold them in opposition. So let's take the right leg up, left leg down. Pause for a moment. So from here, I'm going to get my left leg, my bottom leg is going to open out to the side. I'm going to draw a circle, and then I'm going to join it with my right foot. Okay, and I'm going to do that again. Left leg comes down, so same leg goes down. Open it out to the side. Keep squeezing the kneecap up. Keep reaching out of the foot. And back up. We're going to go for 3 more. As the left leg circles, you want to keep your pelvis super stable on the roller. So don't let your right pelvic half, your right bum cheek, lift off of that roller. Keeping the principle of pelvic control foremost in your mind. 2. Out and around and up. Last one. Down, out and around and up. And let's swap it over to the other leg. So right leg travels down. You're going to take it out and around and up. Good. Again, right leg down, out and around and up. Great job. 3 to go. Down, out and around and up. Last 2. Take it down, out and around and up. Last 1. Down. Keep squeezing the kneecaps up, out and around and up. Good. And then take both legs to the ground briefly and just shake out the kneecaps for a second. Shake out the legs. Very nice, guys. So we've got one more exercise to do here. All right. I'm just going to roll myself down a little bit on the mat to give myself a little bit more space. And then I'm going to straighten my legs up towards the ceiling again. All right. Now you want to make sure you feel like the roller isn't going to roll away from you. You want to hug that right knee in or bend the right knee in towards your body. You want to see if you can take your hands away from the roller and actually physically pull that right knee in and let the left leg travel down towards the floor. Now, what I'm aiming to feel here is an opening at the front of my left hip. I'm not just going to bend my left knee and let my foot rest on the floor. I want to keep my legs straight. That's really important. Okay, so your quads extend your knee. So as soon as you bend your knee, your quads aren't really going to be doing much. So you want to keep them lengthened so that this extension of the leg can open up the hip flexors. Okay? All right, make sure that your left and right pelvic halves feel nice and equal on the roller. So you're not leaning into the left side. Squeeze the kneecap up on the left side, point the toe. And reach the toes of the left foot towards the wall in front of you. What you want to try and feel here, guys, is on every exhale, that left hip opens a little bit more. So you might be able to eventually get the left heel to skim or touch the ground whilst keeping a completely straight left knee. Breathe deep down into that left hip. Let's take 2 more breaths. Last breath. That should feel like quite a nice opening. Now when you swap to the other side, take care as you move. So place the left foot on the floor, slide the left heel back towards your bum, grab a hold of the left knee with your hands, place the right foot on the ground, and you can slowly start to extend out the right leg. The foot probably will start to hover off of the floor, but you're squeezing that right kneecap up, and you want to think about the pelvis staying equal on that roller. So feel that middle point, feel your sacrum press into the roller. Lower back is not arching here. You're squeezing the kneecaps up and reaching out through the tips of the toes. Pull the left leg in a little bit closer if you feel like you need a little bit more of a stretch. Try and get the left thigh in a little bit closer. Holding for about 3 more breaths here. Keep spiraling the thigh bone inwards, so you don't want your foot to necessarily externally or internally rotate. Last big breath here. And then bring that right foot back to the ground nice and slowly. Place your left foot onto the ground, and we're going to pick the pelvis up, extending the hips, holding in bridge just for a couple of moments. So accentuating that openness that you've just created. Make sure the big toes are on the floor. Hang out and hold here, guys, for 10, 9, 8, find both glutes, 7, ribs are down, 6, 5, keep breathing, 4, 3, 2, 1. Place your bum back down onto the roller, and you're going to use your elbows on the ground to bring yourself forward, okay? And place your bum on the floor. Well done. Okay, so from here we're going to use the roller to release the lower back just a little bit. So you're going to place the hands behind your head. Your bum is just skimming off of the ground, and you're rolling down along the spine and back up. Now I know we're focusing on quads, guys, but they don't work in isolation. So I do want you to just give your lower back a little bit of attention. And if you do find anything on the left and on the right sides, then definitely give it a little bit of TLC. So as you roll, you can start to lean into the left side. So I'm just slightly tipped over to the left, rolling up and down. And then over onto the right hand side. Just noticing what you might feel on the right. What's very surprising, guys, and I see this all the time with my physio patients, is that often the side of pain isn't necessarily always the side of the most tightness. So you might feel pain on one side, but as soon as you roll over the opposite side, you may notice actually increased tone on the non-painful side. which is always very interesting. Last two. As you'll notice, I'm about to get into my little pot plant. Last roll up and back down. Awesome. Great job. Okay, so lower back has been given a little bit of attention. If you feel like you need more time there, just pause the video, give yourself another 2-3 minutes, and then you can hop straight back in. All right, so we are coming into a little bit of work without the roller again. So place it to one side. And we're coming back onto the quads. We're going to be in a kneeling position. So you're going to place your left foot out in front of you on the floor. Okay, so go ahead and place the left foot down. All right, so left foot is on the floor. We're going to press ourselves up into high kneeling. I'm going to tuck the tail, lengthen up through the crown of my head, and I'm going to reach my arms forward. I want to keep my head on top of my pelvis, so I'm going to rotate. I'm going to take my left arm back to the wall behind me. Right arm is going to reach forward. So in this moment, I've got quite a big risk of rotating my pelvis. Okay, so I want my pelvis to stay square. I'm going to contact my right glute. I'm going to switch it on, and I'm going to use that to think about driving my right knee into the ground, lengthening up to the crown of my head, and lengthening my tailbone towards the floor. Drawing belly in. It's not the most functional cue, but it will help you to get that increased stretch over the hip flexor. Awesome. Okay, let's take the hands back down. You're going to frame your front foot, tuck the toes of your back foot under, and lift your back knee up off of the ground, allowing the pelvis to draw forward, but not arching into the lower back. So my back knee is now lifted. I want to think about just my knee. So just my knee is going to break and bend. Don't actually break your knee, just breaking at the knee to bend it, and then straighten. Okay, so I want you to think about this movement coming from your knee, all right? So when you bend the knee draws down towards the floor, and then straighten to come back up. You're going to go for about 4 more of these, coming down and up. As you come up, squeeze the leg, squeeze the muscles at the front of the leg. 2 and 1. Very nice. Place it down. Well done. We're going to take it straight over to the other side. So right foot comes in front. Bring yourself up into high kneeling. Good. Toes of the back foot can be tucked under or untucked, whatever you prefer. Tuck the tail. Lengthen the tailbone towards the floor. Lengthen up through the crown of the head. Lengthen the left arm forward. Right arm reaches back. Thinking about the pelvis. Thinking about your front foot. Your front knee. Rotating a little bit deeper if you could. Contacting that left glute to open up the left hip a little bit more. Take one more breath in here. And then place your hands on the ground, framing your front foot. Tucking the toes of the back foot under now if you haven't already. Trying to get the pinky toe tucked under as well. You're going to lift your back knee up, press back through the heel, squeeze that left kneecap up, and then think about just the knee breaking to come down to the ground. Okay, coming up. So we're not changing the right leg really. Right leg is staying pretty much where it's at as the left knee changes. Okay, obviously, just be mindful of your hands on the ground. If you struggle to get your hands to the floor, you could always use blocks or books, something to support you, but just be mindful of your thumbs in this position. Okay, and down. Last 2. And final one. Slowly taking it down. Very nice. Pull it back. Great. All right. Great job, guys. From here, we're going to come into rolling our quads. We're going to be rolling them both at the same time initially, and then we're going to go on to each leg individually. Okay, so grab your rollers. All right, so you've got your roller, and you're just going to bring it to the front of your knees, and you're going to have to lie yourself on top of the roller in like a half plank position. Okay? From here, I'd suggest coming down onto your forearms, straightening out your legs. Don't let your lower back dip though, okay? So we're not just like letting the lower back take all of the force of gravity, but think about pressing down into those forearms and lifting up. I'm keeping my feet on the ground for now. And even here, I can feel the roller digging into the front of my legs. So if you've got really tight quads, this could be really intense for you. And I'd suggest that you just hang out and breathe. If you're not feeling anything yet, then keeping your feet on the ground, gently start to roll yourself back. We know that we have one hip flexor that does cross the hip joint, so you can get up pretty high. Okay, you can go up pretty high and just feel what you feel there. Maybe rock the pelvis gently from side to side. Okay, and then you can start to explore traveling all the way down the front of your legs. Okay, so as you get to the knee, a lot of the time as you get closer to the knee, the more painful this will be. But there are some people who have tight quads up at the top, so maybe your sore spot is up at the top. Okay, everyone's going to be slightly different. So going nice and slowly up and down the front of the thighs. Managing how much weight you want to put into the legs. So if you want to put less weight down on the roller, you tuck your toes under and you can actually walk with yourself as you go. If you want to give yourself more challenge, then you suspend your legs off. But as you suspend your legs off, try not to engage into your quads. So these muscles at the front, the ones that we're trying to roll, you want them to relax. We don't want them to tense up. There's no point in rolling on muscles that you are contracting into, okay? So the whole point is to get into this position and then try and relax. Try and let the muscle melt into the roller. So if you're like me, if you notice that by doing this double leg rolling, a lot of the time you're more on the inside portion of the thighs. So we will do some specific work to target the outer portion of the quads. It really is like ironing yourself out, isn't it? Right now, if you start to feel like, okay, you're not really getting that much from the double leg version, and you really want to spend a little bit more time focusing on the outer thigh, then you could start to lean so small that you may not even see it in me, but just lean into one leg a little bit more and focus on a particular area. So for instance, now I'm slightly leaning into my left leg and I'm finding a really nice tight spot, and I'm just gently going up and down over that portion. So leaning is slightly more into one side. right, let's spend another 30 seconds here. Remember, you can lean into one side a little bit more, play around with it, move into those areas of tension. And once you move into them, don't tense the muscle. Try and relax it. Try and visualize it melting into the roller. Let the roller actually do its job. Okay, when you are ready, guys, you're going to roll yourself back until your knees come onto the ground. Yep, and then bring your bum up, press yourself back, and just take a brief moment in shell. So you've got your little shell stretch going here. Just take a moment in shell. All right, now we're going to go straight into working or rolling out the lateral side of the quad. So vastus lateralis, the outside of the thigh. Similar to what we did last week. So I'm going to come onto, it's going to be my right side, it'll look like your left side. I'm going to lean my right hip onto the roller. So I'm just kind of below my greater trochanter. So just below this area on Mr. Bones. Okay? I'm going to pop my elbow, my forearm onto the mat. I've still got my front foot on the floor for now. Okay? And I'm going to manage how much weight I can personally handle on that thigh for now. Okay. Once you feel like you're confident, you're in, you can start to roll up and down, finding different areas of tension. For a lot of us, including me, the closer you get to the knee, the more intense things will get. And often this is just because on the outer thigh, we have that iliotibial band, ITB, which is like a tendon. But a lot of our muscles, including our quads, actually attach onto the tendon. They have fibrous attachments, and that's what can really cause a lot of the tightness, including the glutes and TFL muscles that attach into the iliotibial band. Okay, so I mean, this is pretty tender for me, but you might really be able to go for it, in which case you could extend both legs out, suspend them off, roll up and down. But if you're going to do this, you must not tense up the muscle. There's no point in doing this, guys, if your quads are engaged, okay, on that bottom leg. You want to relax into the roller. And again, you can start to play around with the angle. So you can lean back and go more into the glute, or you can lean forward and actually rest your top knee on the roller and do little up-down movements. Managing the weight. It's pretty much the same as if you would be going for a massage and you tell your therapist, more pressure or less pressure, If you put too much pressure too soon, you will tense up. So I'm quite high up on the top of the hip. You might be lower down. I would suggest, guys, this area, especially if you have knee injuries or hip injuries, foam rolling this area regularly is definitely a good idea. But generally, I think foam rolling is a good thing to do at the end of the day, not first thing in the morning, and after your workout, not before. All right. So coming off of that position, support both knees back down onto the ground. And I'm just going to turn over and do the exact same on the other side. Okay. So coming down, leaning one thigh onto the roller, coming onto the forearm, supporting my weight with my front foot. Okay, so for now, if I lean too far back, I'm going to go into the glute. So I need to make sure that I can let my pelvis either point forwards or slightly rotated down towards the ground. Actively relax into the leg that's on the roller and slowly start to roll. This leg is extremely tight for me. It's my dominant side. So I tend to roll and release my left leg a lot more frequently than my right. So again, feeling how much weight you can put into the roller. So if you feel like you could suspend your front foot up off of the ground, bottom foot up off the ground as well, and roll yourself up and down, go for it. But if that feels like it's detracting from the value of the foam roll itself, then don't do it. So I've rolled myself slightly forward, rolling more towards the middle of the front of my thigh, so allowing my chest to roll more towards the ground. I'm going to get more vastus lateralis, more rectus femoris. As you roll, as you come over areas of tension that are particularly tender, stop there for a moment, breathe into it, and see if you can actively relax that muscle into the roller. So giving in, relenting, giving your body permission to soften. We don't want the opposite. We don't want to cause more tightness and tension. Right, spending about 30 more seconds here. Well done. Right, so slowly bringing yourself up off of the roller. You can place your bum on the ground. Well done. Amazing job. Okay, so we're going to take the roller and just put it to one side again. We're going to do a little bit of a release for the outer thigh, for the glutes, and then we're going to come into a little bit more rolling and then one final stretch at the end. Okay, so coming down, pretty simple. This is just your figure four stretch. Okay, so you're going to cross your left ankle over your right knee, hug the right thigh in towards you, and just make sure that you're centered on your tailbone. Now, straight away, many of you will be able to take it a little bit deeper, so interlocking your fingers at the front of the right shin is going to make that outer thigh stretch a little bit more profound. Go there if you can. Taking about 4 more breaths here. Well done, guys. So, from this position, we're just going to roll up into seated. Now, was your left foot crossed over your right knee? So, I want to basically ask you guys to see if you can hook or cross that left knee on top of the right knee in a seated position. So, sitting up really tall, crossing the left knee over the right, finding both sitting bones on the ground. Now, that can be really tricky for a lot of us. So, get as close as you can, guys. And if you need to sit up on a block or on pillows or with the wall behind you, then definitely do. We want to start to open up the outer hip. So, sitting up really tall, both feet are active, lengthening through the crown of the head. And then from here, if you feel like you could move, I mean, some of you might be like, hell no, I ain't going nowhere. That's fine. But if you could move, then you're just going to place your hands on the ground in front of you and gently kind of bow down towards that left knee. So just coming into a little bit of flexion in the spine. Holding here for 3 more breaths. Last breath. Keep the legs as they are, but lengthen up through the crown of the head. Now, if you can, you're going to place your right hand on that left knee. Okay, so still that left knee in front. Place the right hand on the left knee. Left hand goes back behind you. Lengthen up through the crown of the head, and we're just going to do a little twist. So that little twist over to the left should actually give you a deeper stretch over that left hip. Depends on where you're tight though, really it does. So for me, this is quite intense. I'm particularly tight in these areas, but hopefully for you, this is nice and breezy. Good, guys. And then bring yourself out of it slowly. We're going to uncross the legs. I'm going to lie back down. It's going to be right ankle hooked over left knee. Right ankle over left knee. Hug the left thigh in. Take a moment. It's up to you completely, but if you do want to take it a little bit deeper, then of course you just interlock all your fingers at the front of that left shin. Now, even though you've particularly or potentially been able to interlace those fingers at the front of the left shin, if you can't find your sacrum, your tailbone, and find the weight on top of that tailbone, then you might need to take your hands back behind the thigh again, because we need to be on that central line of the spine, okay? And it's the same if you do this position, if you do this stretch and you can't get your head onto the ground and your spine in neutral, that's a good indication that you're not ready to take the fingers to the front of the shin. Otherwise, guys, you've got 2 more breaths here. And then we're going to roll ourselves up. You're welcome to keep that right foot where it is. And as you come up, I'm just going to turn myself to face you. As you come up, see if you can indeed get the knees to stack. Okay, once you've stacked those knees, okay, one side might feel a little different to the other. Once you've stacked the knees and you've got your sitting bones onto the ground, lengthen up through the crown of your head. All right. Just noticing what you feel. If you wanted to take it a little bit deeper, if you felt that you were able for that, then you nod the chin towards the chest. Think about lengthening through the back of the neck as you kind of round into the spine. Spinal flexion, not hinging forward. Last two breaths here. And then we lengthen up through the crown of the head. I'm going to take my left hand onto the right knee, right hand back behind me, lengthen up to the crown of the head. Don't lean back. Keep the head on top of the pelvis. Rotate. Twist. Let's take about 4 more breaths here. And well done. Bring yourself back to center. Great job. Okay, unhook those feet. We've got one more really deep stretch to come your way, and we're not going to use the foam roller for it, but you're going to need a pillow and a wall. If you don't have those things, then it's not a problem, but it is obviously better if you can get into this position because it's just such an amazing stretch for the quads. Okay, so go ahead and grab your pillow, and I'll see you in a second. All right, guys, so we have our pillow, last stretch. So place your pillow as close to the wall as possible. Many of you guys will have done this stretch before with me or with other trainers as these moves are getting very, very popular. I'm going to place my left knee against the wall as close to the wall as possible, and my right foot is out in front. I'm going to place my hands onto that right thigh, and I'm going to bring myself up. This is particularly tight for me today, so this is where I'm going to stay. And I'm going to make sure to tuck my tail as much as I can and breathe into the feeling of stretch at the front of my leg. Now, if you're feeling particularly open today, then you want to try and get your back to touch the wall without letting the lower back arch, okay? So you're keeping that rib cage to pelvis connection, and you're pressing back into the wall with your whole body, your whole spine. If you're feeling really unstable, you can always hold on to a chair or hold on to something close by. Otherwise, guys, we're going to hold here and breathe for 1 more minute, and then we go straight over to the other side, and then you're done. I always find this so surprising that it's so tight at the front. We spend a lot of time stretching out our hamstrings, and often we just neglect opening up the front line of our body. So it is really important. Take 2 more breaths here, guys. The last big deep breath. If you feel like you need more time here, you know what to do. You can always just pause the video and spend a little bit more time if you feel like you'll need it today. Otherwise, bring your hands down. Slowly lower the front knee. Walk yourself forward. And we're going to take it right over to the other side. All right, so walk yourself back. That back knee needs to be as close to the wall as possible. And just make sure that your back foot, you can see it there, that your back foot is not going that way. It's not going in the way. It's right in line with your bum. Bring your left foot out in front and come on up. Nice. So just give your body time to adjust to the position. You don't want to force yourself up. So even if you're here and you're feeling a massive stretch, then stay here, okay? You work up to bringing yourself back towards the wall. Finding a nice consistent breath. Feeling the abdomen expand on every inhale. Relaxing the cheeks and the jaw. And allowing these muscles to just open up. Giving them permission to release. Taking 6 more breaths here. Smiling through the pain. Last 2 breaths, almost there. And last breath, guys. Slowly bring yourself down. Come onto the knee of that front foot. Slide yourself back. And let's come straight up into standing. Shake out the legs. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Before you go about your day, you might like to hold onto the wall and just give your quads one last little stretch out, magnetizing your knee to the earth by squeezing your bum. Okay, so bum squeeze, heel towards glute. Practice breathing down into that lower abdomen. Holding for 3. Holding for 2. Keep extending the hip. Keep using the glute to extend. And 1. Bring it down. Other side. Grab the foot. Now make sure you're not just letting that lower back arch. Squeeze the glute to extend into the hip. So squeeze the glute to extend the hip. Holding and breathing for 3, 2, 1. Release it out. And my friends, you are 100% done. Well done. Thank you so much for joining me. And you're welcome to roll out a little bit more. If you feel like you need a little bit more time on the quads, then definitely give them the love and the attention that they deserve. They work hard for you. Okay, see you guys next week for roll and release. We're going to be focusing still on the lower body. It's going to be a little bit of calves, a little bit more outer thigh, and probably a little bit of core to boot as well. Okay, see you then. Bye.